Welcome in to Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, the only podcast on the Marchland Media Empire conglomeration configuration of souls, body, minds, and sweat that breaks down episode by episode episodes of Lucha Underground. We are on season 3, episode 22. The Cup begins. And you can begin to learn the names of your hosts. I am one of them. My name is Sean. Hey, how you doing? With me is yet another host. It's James. James, hello.
I am not James today. I am serious James, at least until we get to our first match. After that, all hell breaks loose. But in the fashion of time, you know the terminology that I'm trying to think of, we will not be goofing until the first match.
In the interest and fashion of time, no goofs until no goofs until the first match.
The first match.
Got you. Now, I'm so used to James doing catch-ups and things. Serious James, how was your week?
I finished Codename Sailor V. It's very good if you've read Sailor Moon, but never Sailor V. I implore you, deplore you to please listen. I mean, watch. I mean, read Sailor V, code name. It's 2 volumes. That's it.
Okay, serious. Thank you, Serious James. My favorite part was how you started giggling in the middle of that serious statement. Like, not that anything, you were being very serious, but even being serious for that long, 10 seconds, causes you to giggle.
Also, I had a lot of coffee this morning, and I have not had coffee in about a week and a half. I am currently high.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool. I didn't get enough sleep last night, so we are operating under interesting levels today.
I woke up at actually 5:30 because the cats woke me up. I worked out for about 2 hours. Then I went to Aldi, came back, ate, drank copious amounts of coffee. Actually, it was just 1 cup, but I also had a protein bar. That also has caffeine in it. So I am a little wired.
That's amazing. I worked out yesterday for the first time and only had to stop to throw up once.
You've never worked out, or just like recently, your first time?
Have I ever? Working out has always been interesting to me, where it's like I would get it where I could get it, but I never like intentionally, if that makes sense. Especially in college.
Non-serious
like,
James right now would be saying, "You mean with that dick?"
That doesn't. I'm so glad non-serious James is gone forever, actually.
Not forever. It's gone only until forever. The first match. I guess we're no longer talking. We are just discussing the interstitials.
Never to be seen again. Well, no. So, like, I would work out, like, if it was convenient, but I would never set the intention of working out, if that makes sense. I would never be like, I'm going to add... Shut the fuck up. You were reminding me of non-serious James, and I'm sick of that bastard. He's dead. Let's celebrate. Thank you. But like,
I also wish James were dead, and I would celebrate.
No, it's not funny when you do it. I don't know if it's funny when I do it, but I know it's not funny when you do it. Serious James don't actually kill non-serious James. But yeah, it's part of my resolutions this year were to go to Zen Yoga Garage, which is a phenomenal local yoga spot, and like make that an actual part of like my routine. And I'm very stoked to like finally do that.
Was that just that resolution?
Yeah, my resolution is to like do, because like I'm going to start off kind of slow and chill into it. Like once a month, hit this like bird yoga class and like really like actually get like, oh my gosh, yeah. And then like, you know, continue my home practice throughout the weeks. But like, yeah, actually like go to the studio and like take care of my body for once.
I apologize. It just sounded like how you were phrasing it. It seemed like you had multiple resolutions.
I do have multiple resolutions.
What are the others?
Well, right now, this is a new one to the resolution list. Go to a yoga burn class and not have to take a break to throw up real quick. So I think that's a very doable resolution I look forward to completing over the rest of this year.
No, I think it's gonna be hard to do.
What do you mean no? Just come on.
Because you love throwing up.
Nope. No, I don't. This is a weird. This is a weird, dark turn for my character, if that's the canon we're adding to it.
Well, I'll just say, not in a health reason you like throwing up. You just love the feeling of throwing up. Kind of like how unserious James, when he was a doy kid, he would just throw up to get out of class.
Didn't we talk about how, as much as this is a story about unserious James, didn't you mention before how that might be a serious, like, actual bulimia?
No, James does have an eating disorder. That's what you might be thinking about.
I'm so sorry,
we have to get to the first match. Unserious James is really hating doing this.
Yeah, I apologize, serious James. I was so used to the banter. This is not your purpose. This is not your prime directive. You're here to talk about the first match of episode 22, season 3 of Lucha Underground, titled The Cup Begins.
Yeah, James is back. I really thought maybe 2 minutes in we'd be saying this. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Serious James, you could have bullied your way. I apologize. I enjoy our catch-ups, and I didn't know what to do, and I was scared. Quite frankly, serious James scares me.
There were some times when you were segueing, and I thought you were going to be like, oh yeah, and that reminds me, one thing I don't want to ever do again is not be watching Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode 22. But then it was like, you don't want to throw up all the time.
Yeah, no, I actually had a pretty big week I wanted to talk to you. I probably could have told you about this off mic.
Or you could have been like, hey, James, actually, serious James, leave for a little bit. I want to talk to my friend right now. Not a bit. Not a character he has to play in, professional settings.
James, can I be honest?
What's up?
I don't know what's a character and what's real with us anymore.
Oh no, I failed you. I thought you knew, that's the real me.
Yeah. And the yaga is
Hello.
a real.
This is not James. There was a time when I tried to be a normal person, and that's in retrospect, that's the most autistic thing you can do is yeah, man, I know how I can get a girlfriend. I just be normal. I know how people will stop calling me the F slur. I'll just be normal.
Sure. How old were you when you were trying to be normal?
It's got to be 15, 16 years. I posted on MySpace bulletin that I was yeah, I'm normal now.
That sounds like an incredibly 15, 16-year-old thing to do. I remember, it's just a please let me be normal time. Now all of a sudden I care what people think of me, and people have been thinking I'm a weirdo this whole time. Oh, that, for me, that was my 14, 15-year-old realization. It's oh no, wait, I'm a weirdo? What do you mean I'm not a really cool guy? Everyone thinks I'm kind of a freak? Oh no.
I just wish I had been into the movies I'm into now. I wish I was into them back then, because then I would have found some weirdo who's also into them, and we would have had a blast.
Yeah. I'm always grateful for being an unpopular kind of weirdo before I became a popular kind of weirdo. Mm-hmm. We're weirdos.
Well, that's not being or do you mean if I were to find another weirdo to watch movies with, would I have been a popular weirdo? I technically was a popular weirdo, especially late high school. There was still a couple people calling me the F slur, but I was the guys, James is so cool, have him be in our group, and then I was in just everyone else's group.
Oh, neat. That's awesome.
I was in with the popular kids, not the super popular kids, because besides Stacy Starr, I think I've mentioned Stacy Starr on this, that dude was hey, he's the football team, all of that. For some weird reason, he's this kid rocks. Stacy Starr forever will be hey, you're cool in my book. Unless, he I guess, turns the keys for the nuclear codes. I think then I'd be no, you want to know what? Why'd you do that, Stacy? Why? Also, how? You need two people to do that. But then I guess if he split off into two people, I'd be hey, he's pretty cool now.
Yeah, if he got it real advanced with cloning technology.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Stacy.
But now he's playing God. Do I think that's cool? Yeah, I do.
Do you remember the question you asked me? I didn't think so.
What was the question about being popular or watching movies?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was going to say, like, there would have been 1 year that I could have been like, oh, hey, Nicole, we could hang out in high school. And then anything before that year or after that year is weird.
Yeah, I see that.
Because we didn't know each other in high school because she was in 9th grade. I was a senior, so I just was unaware of her completely. I've known Nicole's sister and have been friends with her technically longer than I've ever known about Nicole.
Damn.
Which is kind of a rude thing on Ashley because that means she never discussed her siblings.
Okay. Ooh, here is if you could, I guess it would be sort of have you seen, the Jim
What's
Carrey.
Eating Gilbert Grape?
No, but that is also a movie. Thank you. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, man.
Okay, don't worry about it. It's just for plot purposes.
Okay.
Would you knock out parts of your memory? Just knock out parts of your brain that were the time where you knew Ashley, but you didn't know Nicole, so that you would have more memories of Nicole than you do Ashley?
No, because I have that very funny story of me going to a bowling alley that I discussed on Shuffling the Deck, where I was listening to Ringmaster the entire time. Well, Dakota Rust, who was dating either Ashley or Brittany, I don't remember which one because he dated both of them at one time this year. Yeah, I wouldn't have that story to tell. And Ashley remembers that and just being like, yeah, I guess I didn't think anything of it because that was just kind of who you were.
Good answer. Good. That is the correct answer. The scars of memories give texture to the paintings of our lives.
And that'd take away some of my Juggalo ancestry.
Whoop, motherfucking whoop. Actually, speaking of Juggalo ancestry, we have that to get into this. Lots going on this episode.
2 Juggalos present in this episode.
Yep. 4 if you're listening to us while you're watching the episode. Yeah. But you don't even want to start with the chronological start of the episode.
Actually, I'll say it's 3 for sure because when Mac comes in, people are saying, Mac. But then one person in the crowd does go, whoop, whoop.
Okay, wait. So I only know the 2 then, or I don't know who the third one is. I know Mac and Vampiro.
No, whoever's in the crowd saying whoop whoop, they're technically in this episode.
I thought you meant someone who was paid to appear in this episode.
Oh, no. But you better believe all those people, they can't all be that excited for this dumbass show. They have to be sprinkling in ringers.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
What an edgelord. What an edgelord for someone who multiple times has said, what a hot ticket. This would be so much fun to go to. Gosh, I wish I was in Boyle Heights during the 2016-2017 filmings of Lucha Underground. Even season 3, episode 22, The Cup Begins. Do you want to sort of take the reins, or I can do it? James wanted to start off with the last thing that happened tonight.
Yeah,
because it is the craziest shit I think either of us has seen in some time.
This is very match-driven episode. There's 4 matches, so it's mainly match, but we do get 2 big story things, which is involving Cage. He is in the gymnasium working out, saying, oh yeah, I'm training, I'm gonna get big, strong. And he's saying
he's got a weight in one hand,
a gauntlet in the other.
And he's just staring at the gauntlet while he's still pumping iron. And it's like, yeah, man. And sometimes it does an electrical spark and I'm fucking getting big, baby.
You want to know what sucks? As you know, in filming, you don't want to be like eating in a take because then you have to be eating in every single take. Don't be curling weights that hard in every single, in one take, because then you have to do it in every take.
Yeah, not in your night gym. This is also, he's at the gym, but it's at night, so it's weird.
No, it's not, because if you've listened to Doughboys with Taya and Johnny TV, you will know that Johnny TV, generally works out in just the middle of the night.
Yeah, but that's Johnny TV. He's a man. This is a machine. And machine working hours, according to union rules, are 9 to 5.
No, but let me say this. if you have a job where it's like, my job starts at 9 p.m., you're probably like waking up, doing your stretches, getting ready. Like Rush says, I wake up at 7 a.m. and I go to work at 9, okay?
Was this just a long walk to a Rush reference?
No, just, guys, I'm Rush pilled. So.
No, it's fine to work. No, it's however you work out. It's just cool that you're taking care of your body, whether it's at night or in the morning or somewhere in between. We're just proud of you for taking care of yourself.
Yes, but what I'm saying is you're probably, if your job starts at 9 p.m., you're probably waking up around 7 or 6, maybe not. But if you're in that mode of like, hey, is this going to be the beginning of my day or the end of my day? I think you would probably want this to be the start of your day. So you wake up, stretch, do all of that, get ready for the match. And then all the other nights, you're probably waking up around the same time and working out at like when you would be wrestling.
Yeah, an internal clock is a real thing, and if you could, and it's probably important you take care of it. I feel like the older we get, for me, the older I get, the easier it becomes for me to take advantage or to kind of take for granted that internal clock. But like, no, sometimes it's a little bit of intention goes a long way of like, okay, this is like finding a schedule and finding a regimen that works for you, that you can stick with. And that's how you see improvements. Did any of what I say made sense?
I think it made all the sense in the world, baby. Just like what makes sense for Cage to be doing is shunning and scoffing whatever Dario is saying, because Dario comes in and is like, hey, Councilman Delgado wants to see you, gives him a business card, and Cage's like, I don't need to see this motherfucker. And he's like, no, but you want to see him because he will unlock true power within you. That gauntlet is just the start.
It is so fucking funny when he's just like, and because it's Dario, so it's incredibly verbose. The way he interrupts, he wants to share the wealth of Cage's gratitude for the gauntlet. Lawrence Delgado. I think this is who knows, but I don't remember hearing his first name very often. But it's Councilman Delgado, a.k.a. Lorenzo Lamas. I love that he's in this show.
Which it's wild that he's in this show because of how this episode ends, which we'll get to shortly.
Amazing. Should also be thanked for the gauntlet, which has, if this is your first episode, Cage won the gauntlet in one of Dario's famous unique opportunities situations. Ultimate opportunity. Best of 5 series against Tejano.
Oh, man, Tejano's so cool. And he's got that fucking, like, Van Dyke now.
Yeah. But, yeah, so he's like, yes, Councilman Delgado is also worthy of your thanks for this immaculate gauntlet, which you now wear, Cage. And Cage is just like, nah, I don't think I want to do that. Fuck you. Like, it's like, until Dario's just like, come on, advance the main quest line. Please just go to the meeting.
That's very funny of putting it in that context of like, I'm not doing this side quest. My mission is to get the gold. I don't need to do this side quest.
No, you don't understand. By taking the gauntlet, this is the main quest line now.
Oh, God. It feels very much like The Bard's Tale or probably Fable, Dark Knights, or not Dark Knights, Dark Forces Jedi Knights. That's the title I was looking for.
Sometimes if you fuck around with too many side quests, you're going to lock yourself out of a portion of the game and find yourself in a new main quest line.
Yeah, all of a sudden you can't keep playing Triple Triad because you've locked yourself out of going to different areas in the world in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, until you go to Lawrence Delgado's office, the councilman of Boyle Heights.
And I loved how Dario said he's a very powerful man. And the look that Cage gives him is like, yeah, so am I, bitch.
Yeah, Cage does not fuck with any of this at all. Cage is, like, as much as there is, like, dark magic and necromancy at the temple, Cage doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, for whatever weird, bad booking reason, TNA decided not to hire me. WWE doesn't want to hire me. I'm just trying to wrestle men's faces off of their bodies. And I guess I have to do it. I guess I have to meet with this count. It's weird. The games of politics we have to play in order to do the things we're best at. You know what I mean?
But he eventually goes. He shows up to Delgado's restaurant that is City Hall.
Wait, what?
I said restaurant and
Why?
my brain was starting to say restaurant. And I was like, that's not what it is, James.
I like that you just kind of trusted your brain. You just like that. It's a sign of a lot more confidence and self-love than I have. Where I would have paused for 5 minutes and you're just like, nope, that's what the brain came up with. That's where we're going, baby.
Hey, City Hall, they cook up bills, they cook up policy, they cook up regulations, okay? It's a restaurant.
And I bet they have a cafeteria in there somewhere.
Yeah, a restaurant of bureaucracy.
Yes, bureaucracy.
Oh, that should be a movie, dude.
Yeah, all right. Let me write that real quick. Stars Carrot Top.
Dude, we got to watch a Carrot Top movie. I think it's called Gentlemen of the Board or whatever.
It's called, we don't, okay.
We don't need to, everyone knows what I'm talking about, okay? It's Carrot Top. So
it's not too bad.
So
I've seen that movie.
Bureaucracy would be a college movie.
I thought you were trying to get us back to the episode we're talking about.
We can write this movie.
Not right now. That's a formulaic. We'll write it later.
And I just want to say, so it's set in stone that it is like 4 people who are like poli-sci majors trying to go into politics. And they're like, nah, man, let's just get drunk.
No, you lost me at poli-sci majors. I'm off the project.
And one of them ends up being George W. Bush.
George W. Costanza, or I'm gone.
Okay. Is his middle name a W?
It is now.
All right.
So Delgado has an office at City Hall, and we go there. This is at the end of the episode. This is a post-credit sequence. Uh-huh. Cage walks in. Delgado is happy to see Cage, happier to see that Cage cannot take the gauntlet off. The gauntlet cannot be removed. So that also means Cage is wearing this gauntlet 24/7. He showers, he shits, he works out, everything.
Hey, Sean, how you said that was very much gauntlet off?
I know.
Like face off?
I heard it and I stopped. I also heard that and I'm like, I wrote it in a way, I'm looking at my notes and I have it written in a very human English kind of way. And I don't know why when I read it, it did not translate to human English up here.
Okay.
It came out as Nicolas Cageism.
Man, you should listen to an unedited episode of talking about Beyblade when it was just by myself. It was all written and none of it came, like I'm just constantly flubbing. I'm like, I gotta redo this take.
Gauntlet off? So Delgado reassures Cage he was selected for a reason. After Cage is like, what do you mean working? What do you mean it's working? He's like, don't worry, you were selected for a reason. Delgado assures Cage that he will have power greater than he can imagine, and soon their work can begin. And Cage is like, he doesn't like this main quest. He doesn't like this new main quest line. He says, our work? And Cage acknowledges that Delgado is a big shot, but he does not work for him. Cage is like, I do not work for you, you strange man behind a desk. I guess thank you for the metal glove, but get the fuck away from me.
His name's not number 2, okay? And Delgado's name is not Dr. Evil.
But Dario's name is Austin Powers.
Oh, hell yeah. He's the Austin Powers in this scenario?
Yeah. Dario's the Austin Powers. It doesn't get revealed yet. That's a season 5 update.
Actually, in this scenario, I think if you're going off Austin Powers 3 rules, if he's Austin Powers, goddamn Matanza has to be Dr. Evil.
Okay.
Because they're brothers.
We don't actually have time to really get into all of this.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't trying to get into it. I'm just saying, hey, this is what we got to do.
And I think Matanza is also Seth Green.
Oh, his son.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool. But you will is Delgado's response to Cage after saying, I don't work for you, but you will work for me. And those meaningless days of lifting weights and drinking protein drinks will be a thing of the past. Your life will finally have purpose. This is what snaps either Cage or the gauntlet. It's not clear, but either way, the gauntlet grips Councilman Delgado by the throat and pushes him against the wall. A little bit through the wall, as we see later, as they back off and there's a hole in the wall where his back was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
you know what that's for, baby.
No, James, why don't you spend 12 minutes telling me about glory holes?
No, you know what it's about, baby?
No, I don't. Wait, now I don't know what it's about.
No, you said glory holes. That's what it's about.
Oh, okay, it is glory holes. Great, okay. I thought you were saying no, it's not glory holes. Just no, you don't need 12 minutes. Okay.
I have tried to convince Nicole, like, hey, we should have a glory hole in our home.
We have talked about this. We have talked about this.
It's just, it would be fun and mixing things up.
Anywho, build a glory hole in your home. Cage apologizes for taking Delgado's throat to Slamtown for a second there. He doesn't know what came over him. Delgado forgives him. He says, it's okay. You're still thinking like a man. And that's when Cage or the Gauntlet or whatever these forces are react. And they react by punching Delgado's head into red chunks. He punches his head until it explodes. And by until, I mean he only does it once. He punches his head once and it explodes.
I took it more as he like grabbed his head and burst it like a gusher.
Oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense than like he punches and explodes. He takes the head and squeezes.
Yeah, because it looked like, I'm just like holding you by the neck again. Actually, it could be by the neck, and you know those little squeeze toys that their eyes pop out? That it does actually happen. I think he grabs him by the neck, clenches it so tight, his entire head explodes because his eyeball is on the other side, and then he squishes it on his way out.
Yeah, and by the way, just in case, I don't know, maybe you're doing laundry, you're driving around in your automobile, maybe you're listening to this episode while shaking your fist at the local neighborhood kids for playing stickball on your front yard. Who knows? But just to reiterate, he squeezes his head until it explodes.
And like he's covered in blood. Like you don't see it explode. It kind of fades to black real quick, then it comes back, and Cage is like has his arm out still, and then there's just,
and we see the chunks, and we see the eyeball,
and the blood all over him.
They shot this in such a fun way where we see a lot, but we don't have to CGI anything.
And you then see Delgado's body laying on the ground with no head.
And Cage does not apologize for it this time. He just has to be sure to let the corpse of former Councilman Delgado know that this Cage, he is not a man. He is indeed a machine. Oh! That's so funny to shout out your catchphrase in a room that is completely empty except for the corpse you just beheaded.
But if he's a god inside, he knows there's an afterlife. Delgado's soul is still hanging around for just a little bit.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that yet. Technically, we don't know that yet. I mean, it's pretty obvious that seems where they're going.
Yeah.
This gauntlet is going to turn Cage into some kind of a god.
Well, no, they've said that, like, there will be a god flowing through whoever wins this ultimate opportunity.
I mean, yes and no. They say it, but nothing is... They're pretty blunt saying it, but there is still some level of vagary that, like, if they wanted to do something else or like make it a metaphor, they could. There are a couple of avenues, but there's one very obvious avenue.
When does wrestling ever make something a metaphor?
I know, that's why Lucha Underground is so good.
No, I'm saying they're not going to make it a metaphor. He's going to have a god inside of him.
No, I think it's going to be the god inside of Cage is going to turn out he's had a son that he didn't know about for he's like a 3-year-old child that Cage didn't know he had, and then the rest of season 4 is going to be Cage raising. There's no wrestling in season 4. It's just Cage raising this child.
That'd be really cool.
It's 2.5 men. It's Cage as Charlie Sheen, and Arhennis as John Cryer.
Okay, Arhennis you chose.
Yeah. I think Arhennis would be
And Famous B is the August T. Young.
Who's August
Young?
Is that the child?
Yeah.
Famous B plays as Cage's child.
Yeah.
Yes. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's the Cage segment. Cage does not wrestle tonight, but does explode a councilman's head, an elected official's head, which is pretty cool.
But to the freaking cup, baby, where violence is a virtue, which I do remember seeing a kangaroo personify that in Warriors of Virtue.
Okay. We'll start the episode at Dario's office, where he's got a fancy corkboard. He is creating the brackets for the Cueto Cup. It is beginning tonight. His own personal... You just said it. This is why I need to finish my coffee. What was the name of the movie you just said?
Warriors of Virtue.
His own personal Warriors of Virtue. laid out before him on this corkboard, on this bracketed corkboard.
Where all the virtues are just violence, as it says at the bottom of this bracket.
Yes, and on the tramp stamp for everyone I've ever met who has a Warriors of Virtue tattoo. You'd be surprised.
It would be very funny if next year the Super Bowl bracket, playoffs, it just says violence is a virtue.
Hell yeah. It would be, honestly, Dario Cueto should run the NFL. He cannot do an any worse job than Roger Goodell.
No, man, it's doing great, The Bills were taken out. Hell yeah, brother.
And the Lions were taken out. Fucking
hell
sweet.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, we're not, are we telling jokes with each other, or are we just this self-deprecating and self-hating? Who knows, brother?
It's probably the latter.
Yeah, I know. It felt too real, and I apologize.
We got to climb up this self-deprecation because it was the ladder.
Wow. Sorry, that took... Ooh.
And speaking of ladders, brackets are kind of like that.
And speaking of doors, one opens into Dario's office. Dario doesn't like that. Dario demands whoever this is knock. Nobody enters his office unannounced. Except for this guy, a returning Pentagon, back and healed after months on the shelf. Pentagon is back, and Pentagon is looking for the person who broke his arm, Black Lotus.
Oh, yeah.
Dario says she's been back in Hong Kong for like months, hasn't seen her in months even, but who cares? Maybe she broke Penta's arm, but Penta, you broke her arm first. We're just gonna call this one evensies. And then Penta's like, well, maybe I'll break yours. And he points at Dario. Dario points back.
Dario would nut himself to astral projection if Penta broke his arm.
Wait, what?
Because that dude loves violence. He's like, oh, it's finally happening to me. I've been such a piece of shit to all of these wrestlers. How have none of them given me what I want, which is them to punch me in the neck?
Yeah, I know. Dario doesn't want violence done to himself because he's a coward and a worm.
He's edging right now. He's gooning, okay?
No, not everything. No, it can't. Not everything could be a kink.
Yeah, it can. Technically,
okay.
Everything can be a kink, okay?
All right.
Action figures, hey, you fill up a jar with them,
This is a new podcast. Everything is a kink on the Marshland Media. Yeah.
The webcam, that's voyeurism,
All right.
That's a kink.
No, it's not.
I'm gooning right now. It's my kink.
We haven't talked about an ounce of wrestling.
Yeah, man, and whose fault is that? Saying like,
yours.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be philosophical.
What? That's just how I talk.
Yeah, you talk like this. Geesh, Scoob.
I hate you so much.
No, you don't.
I might. Maybe
don't say that. That gets into my head and think you really do.
I love you very much, James.
Snack at you.
So they're pointing at each other. Dario points back. You don't want to do that. As a matter of fact, Penta does. Penta grabs Dario by the finger, bends it painfully, and Dario, suffering under Penta's joint manipulation, he sells him a spot in the Cueto Cup, right? He's like, but what do you really want? The Lucha Underground Championship. This can happen at the Cueto Cup. Which is, if you're tuning in or if you missed last week, the Cueto Cup is going to be a big new tournament. 32 participants enter. The winner of the cup receives a shot at the Lucha Underground Championship at Ultima Lucha 3.
Yeah, which I will say, even if you watch the episode and you recorded this episode with us, you still would be confused about that because he mentions that and then immediately he's like, yeah, and like Johnny is going to be going up against Ray. And it's like, wait. So is it to who's going up against who for this cup? I did not know the stipulations of the cup until this episode. This is when I realized it. And I will say that's the only bad thing about Lucha Underground is when they explain a new thing, they also shoehorn in something else that just makes it confusing. The Gift of the Gods belt, that was confusing because it was a bunch of other shit thrown in when they introduced it.
I remember that. I remember kind of being like a little lost in the sauce. And some of it you chalk up to character work. It's a fine of like, because I remember like being like, oh, Dario's kind of really coked out of his mind when he's announcing the Gift of the Gods, which is cool, but it also makes it a lot harder to understand what is the Gift of the Gods Championship. Last week, I mentioned of like how he kind of shoehorned in talking shit about his brother Matanza, which is like, it's true. It sets up why Rey Mysterio is getting this opportunity over his brother, but it dilutes that. It took me so long to understand, like, so wait, when is Ray fighting Johnny Mundo?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 32, so basically the entire roster, single elimination tournament, the winner of the tournament goes to Ultima Lucha to fight for the title, whoever the champion is at the time.
I would like to know, who do you hope wins?
Jeez.
Or I guess let's wait until we know, like, the semifinals. Yeah. I would say once we know all of the competitors, because right now we only know who fought this time. I can
tell you who I'm rooting for, though.
Okay.
Honestly, because I'm kind of rooting for Penta. I don't think there's anyone in the 32 round, in these first round matches. I don't think there's anyone I'm rooting for over Penta right now. I think Penta's got it. Penta just had his arm broke. He's still real pissy. He's a pissy little guy, and I think he's gonna piss vinegar down some enemies' throats.
I'd love to see Tejano or Marty the Moth.
Okay. Marty would be interesting right now.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Penta vows to win it all because he is Pentagon Jr., he is Pentagon Dark and zero fear. We go back to the desk. Vampiro's voice is hoarse. Vampiro is in a mood tonight.
When is he not?
Yes, but especially tonight. He goes up to Sergio Arrua and is getting ready for the debut match of the Cueto Cup. Striker sets up the card, announcing 4 matches, including a main event between, now follow me on this one, main event between last week's former Trios champion, as well as last week's current Trios champion, Aero and Drago.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into their history in a moment, but that will be the main event. The first match, bit of an underdog, bit of a dark horse, I feel like, as far as matches go. It is Mala Suerte of the Rabbit Tribe versus the Mac.
And when the Mac comes down, you know he doesn't do the sideways, but he does do forks up, forks down to the camera, and then we get a whoop whoop.
Hell yeah. I have in my notes, bias check. You know how I love the Rabbit Tribe? They're like, I just think they're very, very neat, and I love them. After seeing Mac make an entrance on Mala Suerte, it's over. I was just like, man, this is the guy. This is absolutely 100% forks up, forks down, the guy.
Yeah, I do have a similar note for the next match.
Okay. Mac flips, wheels, repositions himself for wrist control against Mala Suerte, who eventually he spaces himself near the ropes to initiate another lucha exchange, which Mac wins again with a flying arm drag. It's found here, Vampiro describes Mala Suerte's lucha as very old school, which it is. It's mostly counter wrestling and trap submission, just kind of like, it's not as important that I'm stronger than you. It's not more important that I'm faster than you. It's most important that I can sort of manipulate your body and your footwork to be where I want you to be. Mm-hmm. Like, you could be as big as strong as you want. If I bend your wrist back, I'm going to put you on the mat.
Yeah, and Stryker also says later on, he's like, oh, my friend is trying to get into the biz, and he has an amateur wrestling and an MMA background or jiu-jitsu background, and he's like, what does that bring to the table of professional wrestling? And Vampiro just goes, I mean, yeah, it does bring something to it, but in my experience, just drink a beer and swing a chair, it'll get you far, okay?
Yep.
Same as punk rock, baby.
Ever the technician, Vampiro, right again, honestly, though. I love this spot. So Mala Suerte, after this, there's some frustration because as much ring intelligence and awareness Mala Suerte is showing, Mac keeps up. Like we talked before how Mac can do so many things. Mac can also wrestle old school lucha like with incredible intelligence and panache. Mm-hmm. Like he knows counter wrestling. He can do catch as catch can. And it frustrates Mala Suerte, who starts kind of headbutting the corner, which comes out, gathers himself again, offers Mac his hand, then offers Mac his other hand, then offers both hands, then double chop to the neck of Mac, which is kind of annoying, but I don't think really hurts him. He just comes back with a flying knee and lays Mala Suerte out.
Uh-huh. I don't remember why Stryker says this, but it's like, maybe it's in regards to him being a rabbit in this rabbit tribe. It's like, how would you react to that? And then Vampiro probably says like, well, he's a person, you know, like what's your first instinct there? And he says, when I see a person my first instinct is to avoid eye contact. And I was like, Stryker he got that tiz, baby.
Hell yeah. The crowd, Mag hits the Samoan drop standing moonsault combo, cover for two. Damn, he says, after Mala Suerte kicks out. The crowd is getting behind Mala Suerte, which I did not see coming. Because around this time, they're dueling chants. Like, there is still... And remember, Mac fought for the title last week. Mac's main event push has begun. Mm-hmm. You know, he has climbed a spot on the card. He is climbing their ladder. So Mac has received a main event push. Mac has climbed to an upper echelon on the card. I did not expect to see Mala Suerte have this reaction. And to hear that, like, the dueling Mala Suerte, let's go Mac chants was very interesting. But yeah, Mala Suerte is getting support from the crowd. Mac, of course, has the support of the crowd. This fight is getting underway. And it seems it's a lot of back and forth. Mala Suerte has a lot of answers. Like, for instance, the power bomb, which he counters with a Hurricane Rana into a seated dropkick. Gets his first cover for 2 before doing... Okay, so I don't know if you remember this Super Smash Brothers Brawl, where they started having the ultimate abilities. And Luigi had this ability where he would do a little dance and he would slow down time and everyone would be like, whoa, Luigi's crazy. That's kind of what Mala Suerte does. And that's a good superpower to have. Good ability.
I don't think it is, Sean. We gotta have abilities that make us gnarly and cool, not like be fast. That's just what the Flash does, and he's not cool.
Yeah, Mala Suerte catches Mac from behind. At some point, German suplex dumps Mac on the neck. Then Mala Suerte climbs the top rope, the furthest turnbuckle from the Mac. So he sets Mac up at one corner, then he goes to the other corner. Climbs the turnbuckle. He motions for the crowd to get on their feet, to really get excited for something as he jumps back down to the mat and then just does a running senton.
But the crowd starts chanting, holy shit, holy shit. And commentary's like, we get a holy shit chant for that? You gotta love the temple.
Vampiro's like about it. Vampiro's like, whoa, dude, what? Awesome. It's cool.
He's like, I've done drugs before too. This would be pretty cool if I were on drugs.
Hell yeah. Mac hits the Big Willie Slam. Very shades of Norman Smiley, which you know how I feel about Norman Smiley.
Hate him.
That's true. I'm so, he makes me so angry whenever I watch him wrestle and he's very good at it. Ooh. Mala Suerte answers with a crucifix bomb, cover for 2. Then Mala goes to the top rope, misses. Mac punishes him with a pounce before hitting the stunner and winning this first round Cueto Cup match in 7 minutes and 31 seconds.
Oh, yeah, it was a gnarly match.
It was a very gnarly match. And another very, like, someone who could win the entire cup and I would be totally okay with it is the Mac.
And
easily.
When you were talking about, it's weird that the crowd's chanting for both of them, I think because the temple just loves wrestling, when they see someone that, the Mac rules, he is our hero right now, technically, we're going to chant for him. But this Mala Suertes, he is also fucking great. He's funny. And he's not an asshole, so, like, we want him to win as well.
Yeah, a quick reminder, Mala Suerte, under the mask, is, in the temple, Mr. Cisco.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, you're listening and you're super familiar with the independent and the trading scene in Southern California, also known as Francisco. By all accounts, a phenomenal dude. And someone who's been at the temple since day one. And yeah, so it's cool. It's cool to see him come back with a new gimmick and be a crowd favorite. It's nice. It's nice to see. We have the cage segment, which we went over earlier, and then we have another Cueto Cup round 1 match. This one between Argenis and Pentagon Dark.
And I wrote down, Argenis, when the crowd is this hot towards Penta or anyone, just leave. Be like, yeah, I'm not going to win this. Because if I do win, the audience will beat me up harder than Penta will break my arm.
Penta, this is his first Mac match first match back from injury, which we covered before. James, you had such a fearful look in your face as I mispronounced that. I think you were afraid I was having a stroke, which I don't blame you.
No, I wasn't.
I thought I was too.
I didn't hear what you mispronounced.
I think I said a first mask batch.
Oh, okay. I'm fine with that.
Okay, great.
The first mask batch was actually not by John Arcudi and Doug Mank. Mm-hmm. It was by a completely different team. And then Mike Richardson of Dark Horse was like, I gotta rework this. This team who's been doing some pretty cool stuff, I think, in Alien. Let's get them on the mask, see what they can do. And that is why Jim Carrey is famous.
Smokin'. Vampiro laughs maniacally as Penta is announced and just immediately starts writing Arhennis' obituary. Like, it's just like, this is over. This is over. Oh my gosh, I'm so biased towards my boy Penta, who is back. A bell doesn't even ring. Penta's already throwing leg kicks or trying to throw leg kicks. Things speed up and slow down real quick when the bell finally does ring, as Penta catches Arhennis mid-handspring with a dropkick.
Ooh.
And then it's just leg kick city. Penta whipping Arhennis around the turnbuckles before beginning to kick the knee out of his leg.
And then Vampiro about this says like, oh, I've experienced that. It will pull tendons from bone and marrow. And I'm like, I don't think the marrow part's correct.
No, listen, Vampiro's not a doctor. But if I was in Mexico and I had like a bullet wound and I had to get that bullet out of my body real quick, and Vampiro was the only quote-unquote doctor around, I was going to say I'd let him operate on me, but I absolutely would not. Actually, never mind.
He'll just start sucking the bullet wound.
Yeah, never mind what I was going to say.
He's going to go full Freddy Got Fingered on me.
Daddy, would you like some violence?
Oh, dang. I was mainly talking about, when he's on the skateboard and that guy's leg rips open.
Never seen it, actually.
You absolute monster. You need to come over.
We don't have time for this.
But you do have time to come over and watch this one day, okay?
All right, great. We're ending the episode here so I can get over to James's. But first, we're going to finish the episode. Vampiro says a lot of shit this whole episode. We kind of glazed over before. Vampiro might be on some new medication or something. Like he's with it enough to get through the episode, but he's very floaty. Arhennis is showing signs of hope until Penta's sling blade shuts him down. And I don't know, James, you might have this in your notes when I start saying it. This is where Vampiro says, yeah, he knocked on the door and got answered by a fist full of darkness.
Oh, yeah, I just glanced over that. I was like, that's just Vampiro being Vampiro.
It was incredibly just Vampiro being Vampiro, though. Like, there are some moments where it's kind of Vampiro being Vampiro. This is obscenely Vampiro being Vampiro.
Uh-huh.
s3e22 Miedo, as Penta takes a running start to punt Arhennis' face. We get a stand-up super kick exchange, leaving Arhennis on the apron, which Penta slides out, but Arhennis is one step ahead. Springboard moonsault to the floor. But this is Arhennis being being a technico. He does the springboard to the floor. He throws Penta back into the ring because that's only fair. You can only win in the ring. But it does give Penta like 0.5 seconds in the ring before Arhennis can get back in, which is enough time to kick him in the head again.
Yeah.
And then continue to kick him in the head. Penta gets a belly-to-belly suplex into the turnbuckle, gets a 2 count. A 2 count that's only a 2 count. Arhennis cannot kick out. He has to grab the rope. And Penta begins to argue with the referee, and Vampiro starts to sing Juggalo music.
Oh, what's he singing?
I didn't actually catch it, but did you? Yeah, just like in the middle of the match, he just starts singing.
Oh, it was like forks up, forks down, forks sideways.
It was something. Yeah, it was something. I'm like, I recognize this as an ICP song, but okay. I don't remember which one it was.
Damn, I gotta go back and listen.
Absolutely, you do. Arhennis springboards Penta up for a cutter, covers, only gets a 2 count. s3e22 Miedo driver, cover, Penta only gets a 2 count as well. This is when Penta kicks Arhennis' legs one last time. Arhennis gets a handstand corner. It is countered by a super kick. Penta sets up, delivers the package pile driver, wins the match 5 minutes, 43 seconds. And just to prove to you that Penta has not learned his lessons, After the match, he takes the arm of Arrhenus, hits the sacrifice to break the arm of Arrhenus for a second time.
No.
Very sad. We cut to the announce desk who set up for the next match before commercial. I have written in my notes, I'm sorry, what match did they say is next? Tejano versus Famous B?
That was spoiled for me in the bracket, so I was like, oh, this match is going to be great. And yeah, my prediction for this before it even started, when they're like, hey, when we're back, this will be what's happening, I said, Famous B will submit, it will be a 5-second match.
It tried to be. Tejano and Famous B after we get back. Brenda is technically in Famous B's corner, but she is verbally fawning over Tejano.
Who wouldn't, man?
It's a good point. Famous B takes the mic to berate Melissa for not announcing that he is from Texas. He even tells her to get, which I think serious.
No, he said, go on, get.
Yeah, that's what I said. He told her to get.
No, but he says, go on, get.
Yeah, wait.
You have to include the go on, get, because...
Absolutely not. You can just tell him, come on, go. You do need to go on, get.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
If you just say get, like, okay, what are you saying? No, go on, get. And it happens a lot in Gravity Falls. There's a character that's always like, go on, get. And then at the end, like one of the final episodes, it's like an inspiring one. He's like, go on, get. And it's very funny.
Powerful stuff.
So Nicole and I say go on, get all the time.
I'm glad for you too. Addressing Tejano, I don't know what's me kind of doing a parody or like making fun of Famous B's Texas dialect, his very affected Texas dialect. I don't know what's me doing that voice anymore and which is me just, this is how I pronounce Tejano.
Well, no, you said Tejano right there, so I think it's just
Tejano.
Yeah. I will not be editing it out, but you did start saying Dario. I was like, oh, you Buffalo's out, baby.
I
Throw
hate my
it back
voice.
in, dude. Zip it up. That Buffalo showing.
All right. So yeah, addressing Tejano, Famous B brags about his new ranch and that all he needs is, quote, a thoroughbred for my stable. Brenda off mic says, we love horses.
She's a horse girl.
She's amazing. She's talking this entire time. Like, again, ever since she's fawning over Tejano during his entrance, like the entire time she's just kind of cutting it with interstitials. But the way that one just cut through, here's, speaking of metaphors, Famous B lays out a beautiful metaphor for what he wants from Tejano. And there's Brenda just, we love horses.
Like I said, wrestling can never get metaphorical.
Unless you have Brenda there to explain it, which thank you to the beautiful Brenda.
Yeah, which is, then it's no longer metaphorical.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, oh no, we like horses.
Yeah, horses rule, dude. Famous B, and you nailed it before, Famous B does not want to wrestle Tejano. He wants to represent him. So just finger poke at Doom, and B will lay down.
To which Vampiro responds with what?
A whole bunch of sort of like, yeah, I was in the WCW when they did that. Oh, it was bad.
He goes, I saw that once in my life. Stryker says, how'd it go? And he goes, company's not around anymore, so that's what it says.
It's weird to me, that bit. And maybe it's because I've been around the WWE for too long, and like, they love to rewrite history a little bit, or like write history in the shade they want their history written in. So like you get a lot of like, yes, WWE created the Attitude Era. It had nothing to do with ECW. Or like WCW was always really bad. Like they just got like you get a lot of that. And it's always weird to remember though, there are some points of history where they were right. Like don't worry, WWE, terrible people, they were rewriting history. Except for the finger poke of Doom, which was truly a terrible moment in wrestling. It just sucked, and it lost, and like it was the beginning of the downfall of WCW in so many ways.
I think that the second it started was the downfall.
Wow. No respect to the nature boy, Ric Flair.
Get out of here. Ugh.
The house that Harley Race built.
Man, I truly, everyone knows, even before the allegations on Ric Flair came out, I have been vehemently opposed to that dude as a wrestler and now as a human. But I would like to reiterate, I think he's a boring wrestler. His gimmick sucks, and he's just a time suck on screen.
Fair.
Exactly. Now everyone has to agree with me because then it's like, well, I don't want to seem like I'm supporting this man who's kind of vile.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. It's like someone who's like, nah, man, before like I knew about everything about the plane ride from hell, I would have fought you a lot harder. Now I'm just trying to get through the day.
Yeah.
All of my heroes are bastards, and
Except
I just gotta
Macho
wake
Man.
up.
He seems to always be he wasn't a good guy?
No, he wasn't a great guy.
Okay.
He definitely was not a good husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so neither were the Beatles, okay?
Well, I feel like Ringo was probably a decent husband.
No, there was Megan Beth Keister wants to put this on a t-shirt and sell it, which is Paul never beat his wife, I believe.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And which Howard Kramer, this was on Grift Horse. Howard was like, yeah, but like Beatles fans aren't going to buy that. Why would you want that? And then Megan's like, no, this is for fans of Wings.
Hell yeah. Let's go Band on the Run.
Yeah, because Megan is a fan of Wings, but not of the Beatles. And she's like, hey, Paul never beat his wife.
I had, there was a dude in high school. He was like the guy for a lot of the high school bands that would start up. Mm-hmm. Because he played bass, and he was legitimately very good, but like also nobody else played bass, so he was like, he would start his own band, and they did a lot of covers, and we always kind of laughed because he was a Wings fan way before he was a Beatles fan.
Hell yeah.
And we were all just like, and then, in high school, you don't know anything. So you're like, what are you talking about? You fuck, John Lennon's so cool. He wears leather jackets. And I bet John Lennon can do a kickflip. Paul McCartney probably never kickflipped in his life. And then years later, you're like, damn, no, he was right. We thought he was, you know what? It's going back to what we were saying at the beginning of the episode. We all thought he was weird. Turns out he just had to find other weird people.
Yeah.
Because he was cool. He was right. Paul McCartney.
I forget who the comedian was, but Paul McCartney recently went to just like a small theater. It was like the side room of maybe the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store in LA. Paul McCartney went specifically to see this one stand-up, and Paul was just stoned out of his mind. And he's like, I'm a really big fan of this stand-up has had specials, but isn't a huge name. And everyone was like, wait, hold Paul McCartney I'm usually doing shows at that room. Oh my, and Paul McCartney was there? That rules.
Wow, that's neat. Paul McCartney's he's just a dude, just like all of us, wants to catch some good jokes. Yeah. Maybe some fun graps at the temple.
Oh, dang, if he were there at the temple and also saying whoop whoop, oh my God.
Yo, you think Paul McCartney's a juggalo?
He's been down since 91, guys.
Yeah. So back to Famous B's plan. Does not want to wrestle, just wants to lay down and give Tejano the victory. Tejano's like, okay, whatever. He goes down to cover. 1, 2. He hears the crowd though. The people, they did not come out of their homes to see this nonsense, to see this shenanigans. They came here to see a goddamn powerbomb. And Tejano's a man of the people. He knows he is there to give the people what they want. So he picks Famous B up by the shoulder at 2. He sets him up, loads him up, power bombs him to hell, gets the cover for 3. Tejano wins the match in 26 seconds.
Oh yeah.
After the match, as Tejano is walking away, beautiful Brenda spanks him hard. And there's like this tense moment of like, what's he gonna do? Before he finally just kind of chuckles and goes, yeah, I got my butt touched, and walks off.
I want to know if that was planned, because he was genuinely like, wait, what just happened? And when he realizes it, he's like, fuck yeah. And dude, Tejano might be, we always forget about him because he has like lulls in the period, because he hasn't had that like, hey, he's going to be the champ push.
I feel like the last time we saw Tejano and Famous B, this storyline was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like it's been a while. He hasn't been on every week, or even every other week.
Yeah, so I forget about him, but he is one of my, like, probably top 5 in Lucha Underground, my favorites to watch wrestling.
Tejano's great. Also, Brenda becoming one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
After the spank, and after he goes, yeah, and walks away, and she even turns around to make sure he's not like right behind her. She says, so much cowboy, little rope, which is some cheek. It is a very cheeky way to tell someone they have a tiny penis, and I love her. That's wrestling. That's ring psychology. Okay, you talk about your Bryan Danielsons. All right, you talk about your 90-minute classics. Wrist control, arm bar. That psychology? No. Real ring psychology is turning around and making sure the man you're about to accuse of having a tiny penis is out of earshot before you say, so much cowboy, so little rope. Beautiful Brenda.
Was that a small penis joke?
Absolutely.
But
so much cowboy, so little rope?
No, I think she wants him tied up. That's what she wants, baby.
I don't think so. I think you are equating large penis to good wrestling, and you are afraid that your new hero Tejano will let you down.
Or maybe she's just got a very shallow vagina, so she's like, I hope he has a little rope.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Out of all the rivalries and the feuds of like, I like this guy. No, I like this guy. The one we're fighting over is going to be Tejano versus the beautiful Brenda.
Yeah, because I just want her to be. I want them to end up together, and I want them to have a mutual loving relationship. Not like, ooh, I'm a little antagonistic, but not in like, hey, we've been together long enough, we can razz each other, or like. If she's like, oh yeah, you have such a little penis, but really he's got a like honking one. So he's like, I know you're making fun of me right now for having a honker opposed to,
Sure.
Yeah.
See, and what I want is for beautiful Brenda to blackmail Tejano with pictures of his tiny penis on the internet.
No, I bet this is what's happening. She's saying he has a small dick, so he'll be like, oh yeah, really? And then he whips it out, and she's like, that's all I wanted, man.
And then she sues him for sexual harassment. Beautiful Brenda is going over. Lucha Underground champion, beautiful Brenda, after she humiliates Tejano.
No, this was all consensual. Everyone knew what was going on.
We'll see. We have a big fight promo hyping up Mysterio versus Mundo. I don't have a lot of notes on this. It's a pretty straightforward, traditional sort of like hype package, like almost something you would see out of boxing. Just like shots of these two trading separately, some recap footage as a third party narrates, which is unusual for this show. I mean, I think even last week we talked about how it being an underground fight and how like it focusing on all these story elements and all these supernatural elements doesn't usually allow it to feel like a sports show, like an athletic competition. But I think because this is so unusual for this show, I liked it here.
Yeah.
And I like it for these two. For like, yeah, these are your two biggest stars.
Yeah.
It's your Lucha Underground champion and it's Rey Mysterio. And they tell that story that Rey's a living legend. He has fans all over the world. But he would like to be able to say that he's held the Lucha Underground title. He's the most famous luchador in the world. He wants the Lucha Underground title.
And they say his waist is synonymous with gold. And my stupid brain was like, what is he eating?
Yeah, no, Jay.
Is he eating gold leaf, huh?
On the outside, the belts he wears,
his
silly James.
WAIST.
Oh, you were thinking of his shits.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I thought you meant he had like in his tummy. No, he might poop gold, but he wants to poop the Lucha Underground Championship.
He was as a kid. Rey Mysterio Jr. was a child actor, and he was excited. Oh wait, no, they did do this. He was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where he was one of those goose, and he was like pooping gold.
Yeah, he was the original goose that pooped gold.
Dude, you should be a goose that poops gold.
Dude, we should get to the end of this episode.
I'm trying.
Johnny, on the other hand, hitting his peak. He has his own stable watching his back. Dario Cueto presents. I love that. And I love this at the end, just sort of to tie it back, that this is something they don't normally do, but Dario is pulling out the stops. Dario Cueto presents Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Johnny Mundo. And then we have the main event, another first round Cueto Cup match between Drago with Cobra Moon versus Aero Star. There is a lot of history between these two. James, I don't want to put you on the spot, so feel free to say no and we can just keep moving.
Yeah.
Do you want to recap like a 30-second recap between these two? Do you have that in you right now?
Yeah, this seems like a bit because you've done this last week as well.
This is it's not a bit. It's also me realizing sometimes I'll talk for a really long time and not let you get a word in edgewise, and that's not fun. And I like hearing your takes on things. I think the people do too.
Millennia ago, the Tribe's 7 one.
Serious James came back.
Yeah, no, this is epic James. Okay.
Oh,
yeah, Marvel owns me. There was an epic imprint for Marvel. I've lost my train of thought. There were 7 tribes, I believe, all represented by animals. And there was the serpent, dragon, snake tribe, reptile tribe.
Also, real quick, hold that. James is not doing a bit. It really goes back a millennia between these two. Yeah.
It might even be millennia. That's the plural of millennia.
Honestly, yeah.
Where Drago was the enforcer. He was going and just blowing dragon breath into these villages, going, burning it up. We burning up.
Burninate. Oh, okay. I thought you were going burninating the countryside.
I have no idea what that is.
Trogdor?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get done with this episode. We can't be talking about Trogdor.
My bad.
He's got a big arm and a small arm. So
burninating.
He was like, I'm done with this. I can't be living a million years and doing this, because that's what millennia really means. And he says deuces, and for years he doesn't even look at the serpent tribe until Cobra Moon, this goddamn punk, this Cobra Moon punk is over here.
And real quick, yes, quite. I want to make sure the meeting between Aerostar and Drago, I think that's right after he leaves the tribe. So I think they've known each other for a millennia as well. I think Aerostar was the one who was there for Drago after Drago leaves his tribe. Drago says, I don't want to burninate these villages anymore. I want to be a good boy. That Aerostar is there and says, hey, yeah, I can help. I want to help you be a good boy. So let's be friends. And again, this is a millennia ago, before the temple is even a glimmer in Dario's eyes.
Yeah, and also Phoenix is probably there because we did see Phoenix and Aerostar a millennia ago, I believe, in a previous flashback.
I believe what it is. Now, correct me if this, I believe this is canon. When Aerostar sees Drago leaving the reptile tribe for good, he says, hey, you want to come over to my friend's place? He's got a Sega Genesis, and that friend is Phoenix.
Oh, okay, so that didn't happen until 95.
No. They had a Genesis back then.
Oh, dang, dude.
Because they're immortal beings.
Okay. Oh, yeah, and he can go through time. It's surprising he didn't have a Saturn, because it's like, whoa, like, Sega really fuck botched that release. They released it 2,000 years ago out of nowhere.
It was so bad. And then they're like, you know what, let's re-release it, and they still got their asses kicked by Sony.
Yeah.
This is a very specific video game economy joke. And if you're on board for this and you're listening to our wrestling podcast, I'm so glad you found us.
Yeah, and then so Cobra Moon's trying to get him back. That's it.
Cobra Moon's trying to get him back. Meanwhile, we sort of touched on it last week. They were the trios champions. They thought they released Drago, but the sort of Stockholm syndrome was set in too deep, and he's gone back. He basically traded in his titles with Aerostar and Phoenix to be trios champions with the rest of the reptile tribe.
And now Drago's got a new suit, baby.
Drago's got a new suit. Also, something that is worth mentioning. We mentioned the unique opportunities before. Which is how Cage won his gauntlet. The original unique opportunities best of 5 series between best friends Drago and Aerostar. They fought each other before, but it was always there was so much respect between them when they did. That is not here now. No.
And Stryker's over here saying, hey, I don't understand human feelings and emotions. I'm like, yeah, man, he's got that tiz.
Yep. Cobra Moon pulls Drago out. This is on the entrances. Cobra Moon is pulling Drago out by the chain around his neck, which is she's been doing ever since she captured him. But now he's hella into it. Like, there is a difference from last week to this week, and like from like the weeks before. Drago's super into being pulled around by his neck now. Like, it's am I the only one noticing this? Is this me doing wishful thinking?
I think it's you doing. Yeah, this is like me and beautiful Brenda.
Wait, no, you didn't notice that like Drago was like way more into him being pulled around by his neck?
I guess he's just less resistant to it, not more into it.
I think he's kind of into it. I need someone to write in and tell me I'm not a pervert and that this is happening.
I get an email from Drago at AAA.com saying C.
All right, great. But he doesn't clarify whether it's C, he's into it, or C, Sean is a pervert.
Oh, yeah. And then, what's Cobra Moon's new name in AEW?
Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa at AEW messages us just going, no.
No, wait. It's not helpful at all. There is a poor kid. I felt so bad for this kid. He was holding up. It's a cutout of Drago wearing the ice blue. But Drago looks really good in his new reds. Like, he's got the new red getup, and it looks great, and dang, I love it.
It must be in the closet. There's a picture frame from Dueling Dragons, the old Universal Islands of Adventure ride that was a dueling blue dragon and a dueling red dragon, and it's my brother, sister, and I standing outside of that ride, and it rules. That picture frame's awesome, and this is the duality of Drago.
Inside of all of us, there are two Dragos, an ice blue and a fiery red. Also, okay, this wasn't a poor kid. This was a grown adult man. But he also had an Aerostar cut out, and Aerostar comes over and gives him a big hug. So it all works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bell rings, and Aero's telling Drago to wake up, pretty much. Just like, this is not you. Please. We don't have to do this. You're my best friend. I took you over to Phoenix to play Genesis. Let's bring those days back. And Drago has only big boots for Aero's face. No love in his heart for this spaceman. It's very sad.
Aerostar's saying, gotta wake you up. And then Drago's saying, wake me up inside.
Yeah. No, Drago's saying he can't wake up.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's I can't wake up. Wake you up inside.
Can't wake up. Wake me up and save me. So we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you. I got distracted by the power of music.
By the power of nu metal, maybe.
Absolutely.
Or they nu metal? Who knows?
Yeah. I would say, yeah. Drago drop kicks his way twice out of the corner. It's a lot. Eventually, like, as the fight gets rolling, Aero's like, okay, I can do this. Especially because Aero's style is so technico. It is so based in the air. Drop toe hold, like he can dance around Drago a little bit. This rope assisted PK kick to the back of his head, woofa. But Drago's a fighter. Drago scratches and claws. He drop kicks his way twice out of the corner, knocks down Aerostar. Drago climbs to the top rope, but Aero catches him up there and drops himself ass first onto Drago on the top rope. I don't know how else to describe that, but it's really cool. Just to like seeing someone climb the top rope and being like, no, and then dropping yourself ass first onto their back. That's a powerful move, and I'd love to see it. Aero starts rolling now. Wild springboard drop kick sends Drago outside of the ring. Aerostar is going to fly after him, but the ref's back is turned as Cobra trips Aerostar.
No!
Yeah, Cobra is going to let her presence be felt in this match.
I just wish our Aerostar had just been like, oh, I need to take out Cobra Moon real quick. That's what's influencing my friend, and that's who's just constantly fucking with me on the outside of the ring. Yes. I'm going to sort of do a lot of, I don't know. It reminds me of sometimes I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals because I love the Disney Corporation. And one of the things, I haven't played a lot of hero shooters before, but one of the things you learn pretty quickly is that it's when you're directing fire and you start getting surrounded by other characters, you need to sort of like what was I shooting at before? Let me finish off that kill. And I feel like that's sort of the thing when you have like certain managers on the outside, or even someone like Cobra who is infecting Drago's mind and stuff. You're still like, I can't take my eyes off of Drago though, or else he will murder me.
I can't even take my eyes off of Drago long enough to fight Cobra, or else Drago will kill me.
Okay. I would have done it in a way of like, hey, I'm gonna try to go after Cobra Moon to bait what's-his-nuts to then attack me, then quickly jump out of the way so Drago plows into Cobra Moon Punk.
Punk?
Because she's a punk. She's Cobra Moon Punk. I'm saying she's CM Punk.
I'm still confused by that.
She's a punk because I said, like, he needs to just stun her, that punk. And then I was like, oh, Cobra Moon Punk.
I don't know why. It makes total sense, and I don't know why the CM Punk layer is what's confusing me.
Well, because her name's Cobra Moon and she's a punk. She's a CM Punk.
James, you've got such a cult of personality around you. That's his song. That's his song.
No, I got the cult of straight edge surrounding me.
Yeah, bring back Festus, but now he's sober. That's a weird gimmick. It was cool though. Drago's back in. He gloms Aerostar from behind. Advantage exchanges before Drago finally catches Aero mid-flight. His second middle rope springboard cutter. Cover for 2. This is a very back and forth match. This is it is hard, like it was for their best of 5 series. They both wrestle in the Lucha Libre style, but they do such different things within that style. The Inframundo versus the Celestial, the Extreme Technico style of Aerostar versus the hybrid Technico Rudo style of Drago. They mesh together very well.
They blend together very well.
And they recognize that after a series of counters in the corner, the kind of counters that you only know for an opponent that you know so well, they may as well be a ... friend?
Frenemy.
There's this recognition for a second as Drago's like, wait, I know you. No! And then he charges back in, pushing those thoughts of friendship and the past aside. He charges back in. Aero baits Drago eventually to the outside. Aero throws his body like a missile out of it is insane the way Aerostar flies outside of the ring through the ropes into Drago into the front row. Real scary crash landing out there for a second.
Which I just need to know, how did that audience member know to get up?
Because Aerostar ends up going headfirst into a chair.
Which I think Drago did a little flip to flip him into there. So I think as Drago was on the outside, he's like, hey, could you quickly get up? And that's why the camera wasn't focused on him. I mean, because, Aerostar's, they know the camera won't be focused on him. So he can be like, hey, could you get up? We want to do something real quick.
And it is fairly common. It's with shows that don't have there are no traditional barricades. And if you go to a lot of indie shows, something to sort of be aware, it's the same rule as if you go to a baseball game when they're like, hey, don't make sure you're paying attention or there is a non 0% chance you'll get hit with a baseball. So pay attention to foul balls. Just make sure you're aware of yourself. It's a little more common in wrestling for them to be like, hey, if you're going to sit in the front row, just make sure you're paying attention. They might ask you to move. So there's a chance that even before Drago was going to clear the audience members regardless, just to be like, hey, yeah, we're doing a spot here. Guys, get out of the way. And thank God he did, because his head goes hard into the chair.
Yeah.
Eventually though, Aerostar does get up first, and to let the crowd know he's okay, he does the super baby face. Hey, I'm in the ring and I'm all right. Yeah. I'm all right, folks. The Evel Knievel wave. Unfortunately, the referee is checking on Drago when he does this, and Aerostar's Evel Knievel wave is interrupted repeatedly by the diabolical and punkish Cobra Moon. Both men standing in the ring now. There's a dragon whip leg trip from Drago before a barrel roll pin covers for 2. Aerostar locks in a modified cloverleaf deathlock. Drago reaches and grabs the rope. Back and forth, back and forth. Aero flies again, this time arm dragging his way into Drago's own signature pin. The Dragon Layer pin. Aerostar, because it's his friend, and he knows his friend. It's the same way that James, if you were ever influenced by corrupted forces, I would do a Yogi Bear podcast because I know your signature moves, and I think that's how I would save you. Like the version of me doing your signature finisher is me doing a Yogi Bear podcast to bring you from the depths of Cobra Moon's clutches.
Okay, all right.
That's what's happening here. Yeah.
If I ever, get QAnon-ish, you're like, Yogi Bear, Yogi Bear.
That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be me doing a Yogi Bear podcast, you listening, being like, wait a minute, that's a hot take that's not supported by the canon. And that's how I bring you back.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa. Why am I focused on, like, how I can't say some of this stuff because YouTube will be like, we removed this video.
Also, if YouTube doesn't, I might be like, James, find a more clever way of saying the thing you're going to say.
Those things that go inside you to make you better, that like keep you from illness, I don't think they really work.
Are you talking about medicine?
No, the things that you like take, it's liquid and it goes possibly in like a red tube inside of your body, but they look blue on the outside.
Oh,
if you mention this even as a joke, YouTube will pull it from their service.
Then I will ask you to explain that joke off microphone.
One of these things, it like
that's not
makes
helping.
It makes you better.
Are you talking about? I can't say it. No, I can't say it to even let you know that I get it.
Hey, you want to know unrelated? Vaccination.
Good stuff. Love them. I love them. Aerostar is using the Dragon Layer pin, the signature Drago pin. Drago recognizes this. He kicks out, answers with a standing blockbuster. Aerostar tries the Dragon Layer pin again, this time without the springboard arm drag, which Drago recognizes. He knows his move. He knows his move twice, and he knows the counter, and counters the Dragon Layer pin with his own Dragon Layer, this time done up real tight. Drago wins the match after 7 minutes and 25 seconds.
Ooh!
Cobra beckons for Drago and demands kill him, which Drago does as he's told. I don't even know how to describe this move. I call it a modified reverse Alabama slam. It's gross. The end result is the same. Drago drives Aero face first into the match. Cobra reshackles Drago, and he's into it this time, allegedly, as credits roll.
Hell yeah.
And season 3, episode 22, that was the cup begins.
Okay, real quick, I will say my thing, and then you have 10 seconds to figure out yours. If you can't, we'll just get it on the next episode. This cup gives us a lot of opportunities to see people who have never fought before, never gone one-on-one together in Lucha Underground. Who is your choice? Mine, I hope so badly, because I think it's the only person who could really take down either of them. I want to see Mill versus Vibora.
Oh, what's my dream match? That's a great question. So I don't have the match. I'll tell you who I'm most excited to see more of. Because I don't think they've done a whole bunch with him yet, and I'm very excited for them too, is Paul London.
All right, hell yeah. Plugs.
Catch me out at twitch.tv, Goose Von Kaiser. I'm gonna beat Fallout 4 and other games, and I'll probably get distracted with fun butthole humor. Come through. That's twitch.tv/Goose Von Kaiser. And if you're in the Chicagoland area, because I talked about them up top, Zen Yoga Garage is a phenomenal place. And I encourage anyone. They're super friendly to beginners. Like, I went in a little hard. That's why I didn't take care of myself. They're amazing for beginners. They're amazing for seasoned veterans. If you're interested in checking in with your body, taking some care of it, Zen Yoga Garage in Wicker Park.
Hey guys, listen to my music under Marshland Monster wherever music is found. Head over to mlmpod.com to find out information about my other podcasts, such as Mostly Speakin' Sentai, Death to Squids, which you can listen to on this feed, This Movie's Gay, Hit It and Crit It, so much more. All of those are available wherever you are listening to this. You can listen to those. Those are in free feeds. You don't need to sign up for anything. People are like, well, I didn't know Death to Squids was free. Yes, it's free. Go listen to it now. If you'd like to support us, head over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. This Friday is the Citizens of Townsville Z, where me and artist Lance Orr will be discussing Powerpuff Girls Z. Ooh-wee! And $10 patrons get all the weekly stuff. On top of that, they get monthly bonus exclusive content in the form of straight to Patreon, but we're trying out new formats. We're trying out new formats. And in this week, or this last month, we tried out Explanation Required, where I explain an absurd media to someone who has no experience with it. On Friday, I battled the rain. I went to the movie theater. I saw Dogman, and then I came back home and I discussed it with Nicole, who was most of the time saying like, "Oh yeah, of course that would be that." All right,
yeah.
Because
Nicole knows movies.
Dogman's weird, guys. Check it out. Oh, and they get shout outs on every single free feed podcast. And by they, I mean the $10 patrons. So let's begin with those, starting with Steve F., Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, Alex Z. The Waz, Orion, my Bickle brother in common law, Joshua Jacobs, Steve Barnes, a sweet child of time, and Introvoid. Check out his music. My mother, Lil Corey's BFF, and now former roommate Shane. Twitch.tv/Core Winning. It's Corwin. From the ROM Complex, as well as Formulaic, a podcast and script writing, it's Twitch.tv/R2Shelby2. And from Speed Radio, a podcast and all things Sonic the Hedgehog, it's Tay, aka Zinny D. And I've been James.
And I've been Sean, and this has been Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. Purple Prancer forever. Be like Bob.
Woo! Oh, yeah.